thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us.
I'm not white. I'm off white.
Oh yeah. Good morning, you guys. Happy Tuesday, you guys. Happy Tuesday today, you guys. That's right. It is Tuesday, July 16th, and today is, Rico, that's right, it's Corn Fritters Day.
Oh, man.
Yeah, shout out to corn and fritters.
What is a corn fritter, man?
Fritters.
You don't know what a corn fritter is?
I mean, you're
No,
from,
never had a corn fritter.
get out of here.
It's like a hush puppy alternative.
And
It's like a shoe.
And since it's National Corn Fritters Day, Rico, it's also National Personal Chef Day. So shout out to all those personal chefs, because without them, I would not eat.
Shout out, Kenny.
Whipping it.
Yes. And thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast every Monday through Friday here on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. You can look up above or down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And kicking it off today, we have the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte, the Quasimodo caretaker, who is all dressed up in black on black like he's about to make an attack. That's right, it is the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte.
Too soon.
He's about to make an attack.
Yes. Looks like a linebacker today.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to say it sounds
Jeez,
crazy.
you guys are just like crazy.
Just saying, man.
Yeah. We must be crazy.
Yeah, of course you guys are.
Either way, we're gonna start today off with a little heat.
There's lots of fire in the lineup today.
There is, man. Anybody who has experienced the pure heat and humidity of a Florida summer would agree that there ain't much hotter places on earth to be in July. Maybe out, the dry heat out where Todd Denkin is in Las Vegas, but right, you know what I'm saying? You got that heat and humidity, and just lay on you like a do-rag, man. I promise, out there. And I'm sure that anybody who's been following this manufactured ballot box battle between the Sunshine State's hemp and marijuana industries would agree it's too damn hot for that shit. On the surface, times have changed, and politically, support for legalized adult use cannabis seems like a no-brainer. The numbers support an economic case to be made too. But according to a Fox News poll released last month, the whole weed for the people social case can be made too. Revealing that 2 in 3 Florida voters support the truly funded cannabis legalization initiative, an issue proving more popular than Governor Ron DeSantis himself. Also to note, the survey showed a majority of support across the political spectrum, proving once again that cannabis is indeed the true unifier, the unifying issue that more American politicians should rally behind, regardless of your party affiliation. However, DeSantis has consistently argued that Florida should not go beyond its existing medical cannabis program, and that broader reform would negatively impact the quality of life for Floridians. Furthermore, The Florida Republican Party formally came out against Amendment 3 last month, despite all signals from the people pointing to full legalization winning by a landslide come this November. So, if you're looking for more answers as to why the whole Florida hemp versus marijuana thing is still thinging, y'all got to follow the fucking money. And once again, Marijuana Moments Kyle Yeager is doing just that. Yeager reported yesterday that amid new reporting that Florida-based hemp businesses are rallying behind Governor Ron DeSantis' campaign to defeat a marijuana legalization initiative, with an apparent pledge from hemp executives to donate $5 million to the Republican Party as it works to oppose the effort. One particular cannabis-affiliated company has come under the spotlight after contributing a cool $100,000 to boost the governor's so-called Florida Freedom Fund after its initially tepid fundraising start. This comes weeks after the governor vetoed a bill to ban most consumable hemp products, in a move that some suspect was at least partly meant to garner the industry's favor in his anti-marijuana crusade. DeSantis launched the Political Action Committee, targeting both the legalization measure and a separate abortion rights initiative that will appear on the November ballot last month. The PAC has about 121,000 on hand, the bulk of which coming from POB Ventures, which is linked to a medical cannabis worker training institution and a chain of hemp businesses. Go figure. CEO of POB Ventures, Patrick O'Brien, told Marijuana Moment that he's not against adult use cannabis legalization in principle, but is instead troubled by the specific language of the ballot initiative because it provides an option rather than a mandate for regulators to approve additional licenses. Brian, who also runs the education platform Sativa University, great name, and the retail hemp chain Chronic Guru. Sounds like this guy's peddling a bunch of hemp and, trying to pretend that it's not what it is, but I digress. He suggested that the framework could create a monopolized cannabis economy that primarily benefits the state's existing medical marijuana companies, including the multi-state operators such as Trulieve that have primarily financed the legal campaign. If you look very closely at the writing, they just messed it up. And it was with full intent to mess this thing up. All they had to do was make a simple change from may issue more licenses to must issue more licenses, and we would have had a recreational market, is what O'Brien said. He also claims that by giving regulators that licensing discretion, the measure could effectively kneecap prospective businesses outside of the existing medical cannabis space. When pressed on the governor's ideological opposition to legalization, O'Brien said he was motivated to contribute to the Freedom Fund by what he perceives as to be DeSantis's consistency in supporting small businesses, irrespective of his position on other political issues. And he saw his dollars potentially stretching further by contributing to the governor's PAC compared to independently opposing Amendment 3 through other vehicles. All he's done since being in office, at least for me, being here with boots on the ground, lifted boots, I might add, in regard to small business, is fight for it. Why in the world, as a small business, when I'm going up against a giant, why would I not align myself with such a mindset? Sounds like a Republican to me. O'Brien acknowledged that point, and he's conceded that he has concerns about the optics of providing funding for an anti-legalization politician with other contentious policy positions. Who wouldn't be concerned, he said. I mean, this guy's talking about abortion and all kinds of other things, but at the end of the day, that's not what I'm here for. Let's keep it on track.
Not here for the abortion.
Right, I'm here for the little guy. I'm here for the small business. And if we got a guy in there that holds up such a high seat, all these like little innuendos here talking about he's small. He holds up such a high seat and has a little bit of oomph behind his word. Why would I not at least consider using that to our advantage as small businesses with the very little resources that we do have? Yeager then highlighted the fact that suspicions behind the motivations behind POB Ventures' contributions to the DeSantis PAC are not likely to dissolve, especially amid new reporting from CBS News Miami that unnamed hemp businesses have joined forces to back DeSantis in his fight against the legalization measure with a pledge to contribute $5 million collectively to the state Republican Party after the governor vetoed the bill that ostensibly would have wiped out the market by banning most consumable cannabinoid products. What is up with these Republicans, man? You just like vote. You just go with the money and you just like vote against everything you believe in. We know nothing in life is free, and neither was this veto. A leaked WhatsApp message from the Save Florida, according to the local news outlet. We are currently seen as DeSantis's allies to defeat a recreational ballot initiative, the post from late last month said. Our lobby team made promises to rally some serious funding to stand with him on this. He chose hemp as his champion, and now we've got to deliver. We have to pay $5 million. We have to pay $5 million to keep our end of the veto. Another person characterized as a hemp executive by CBS said, we've been told that this is a two-part deal, another message said. Come up with the money to fight our biggest enemies, marijuana, monopolies. They're just talking about True Leaf here. This is all just anti-True Leaf. Anyways, alley-oop reasonable legislation to secure longevity for our industry in Florida. The threat also contained a routing number for the state Republican Party's bank account. The messages suggest that the group has already contributed $2 million across dozens of payments to the party. While there's suspicion that the contributions are linked to DeSantis's veto of the hemp ban bill, a spokesperson for the governor said that any suggestion that he took legislative action in anticipation of the contributions is false.
Never happened.
Vetoed SB 1698 because the bill would impose debilitating regulatory burdens on small businesses. A hemp executive also told CBS News that he does not believe there's a connection between the governor's action on the hemp bill and the new industry contributions. I don't think there was any link to the veto. JJ Combs, CEO of Arvita Labs and Mellow Fellow, said. I think it's really that we support what DeSantis is doing, what the governor is doing. We want to help fight against Amendment 3. This isn't about influence. This is not about influence. This is about supporting the Republicans of Florida because they are helping us. They're helping fight an amendment that we all believe is bad. The WhatsApp messages also describe a meeting with the Republican Party of Florida Chairman Evan Power, the party's executive director Bill Helmich, and attorney Jeff Aaron, DeSantis appointee with the State Public Employees Relations Commission and registered hemp lobbyist. Power and Helmich are also lobbyists with Florida Healthy Alternatives, a major hemp association that's opposing Amendment 3. The president of that organization, J.D. McCormick, told the Miami Herald that without DeSantis, the hemp industry right now would be illegal in Florida. And then True Leaf would go on to develop a monopoly. They already have the monopoly if the legalization measure is approved. Per the article, it's been previously reported that Florida man governor is hoping to garner support for his efforts to defeat the marijuana legalization initiative from the state's hemp industry, and DeSantis seemed to concede last month, this guy's so great, that his veto of a bill to ban most consumable hemp-derived cannabinoids was at least partly because he hoped the market would aid in his anti-legalization campaign. Meatball Ron once again saying the quiet part out loud. A similar situation is played out at the congressional level, with hemp stakeholders at odds with certain marijuana companies that are supporting legislative efforts to enact a federal ban on a wide range of hemp-based cannabinoid products. To that end, the U.S. House Appropriations Committee approved a 2025 spending bill last week that contains a controversial section to prohibit cannabinoid products such as Delta-8 THC and CBD containing any quantifiable put that in air quotes, quantifiable amounts of THC. The DeSantis campaign committee, even with the recent contributions, is still miles behind the Smart and Safe Florida campaign in terms of funding. The marijuana legalization effort has raised over $60 million since launching in late 2022. Sounds like it's campaign against Trump right here. DeSantis has been railing against the marijuana measure for months, most recently arguing that it would protect the right to use cannabis more strongly than the First Amendment protects free speech or the Second Amendment protects gun rights, and again claiming that the reform has been a failed experiment in states such as Colorado, California, and Illinois. DeSantis acknowledged the state Supreme Court has a role in reviewing ballot language for constitutionality and that a majority of justices behind the marijuana measure meet the legal standard. But while he previously correctly predicted that the court would approve the initiative following a challenge from State Attorney General Ashley Moody, he now says that the two dissenting justices were correct in trying to block voters from deciding on the measure. Now, to be fair, we have no proof besides these WhatsApp messages, but we have no proof that DeSantis's newfound boost in confidence came from the alleged money coming from from O'Brien and the likes, or it was, 40% off Prime Day deal that he scored on a fresh set of 5-inch heel lifts for them summer shoes, but we can't confirm.
I mean, it is Prime Day today and tomorrow.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. I got that deal.
Fair.
And to be fair, I've never known donor contributions to sway policy. Have you?
Never.
That's crazy.
Never.
We
never.
don't pay politicians
We can't
off.
confirm, though.
Come on.
Yeah, we can't confirm that there is a little something off about this entire situation. I'm pretty sure Florida parents are not too worried about their kids being able to legally bring 20 joints to school every day. But I do live in California, so what do I know about Florida? I know nothing. Lots more juicy details on this one that we could not cover in the time allotted today. Make sure you guys check out high9news.com to get the full scoop there. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street. Just doing, second best thing that I do, follow the damn money. What do y'all think about this, man? Ron DeSantis.
I think with all that money, DeSantis must have bought some new boots with extra lifts.
New boot goofing. New boot goofing.
Mm-hmm. There's the new boot fund.
The new boot scooting.
It was like platform jellies. I'd like to see that.
And I think he just bought some insoles, those Dr. Scholl's insoles, and he's just gelling.
Oh man.
He just he just stacks them.
Could be gelling.
Like a little kid at Payless Shoes, running faster.
I used to do that. I used to feel like, when you put on a new pair of shoes, I could run faster. I do remember that when I was little.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jump higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Show how I can jump.
Man, you guys look so amazing. You guys all got green screens going on. Look at this, bro. Look at this. Look at this.
Panel of distinguished
Looking good, man.
On a Tuesday.
Not really in the studio.
On a Tuesday. I mean, you are, Todd.
Yeah, we are officially the talking heads here. Well, why are people still doing all this dirt on WhatsApp?
because it's not encrypted, Rico.
I mean,
like when Mark Zuckerberg took it over, you should have just stopped using it, period.
Literally.
You know what? I don't know anyone that stopped using WhatsApp app when Mark Zuckerberg bought it. I don't know anyone that quit using it.
Do you know that it links to your Instagram? Like if Meta can send you a reset link to confirm that it's you trying to log into your Instagram through WhatsApp because they've linked the two.
Speaking of links, back to the story. I don't know why you're going to short shame DeSantis and talk about his boots and his platform heels. The only boots that he has on that matter are the ones that are on the neck of the American public.
Oh, boy.
And the fact that he is going contrary to what the general population in Florida wants to have happen.
We don't know that yet. They haven't voted yet.
Well, and the question becomes, do Republicans tolerate the rhetoric that he is spewing? I mean, it's almost like popping a pimple here. Because this notion that this is going to create rights and that are greater than the First and Second Amendment, it's that kind of unrealistic rhetoric in politics that doesn't help to create consensus, doesn't help to calm what's happening in this country. We need political preparation H right now. We have the massive flare-up that needs help. And for DeSantis to go in and to say those kinds of things, is irresponsible politicking. We all know that we don't have the same perspectives. We all know that we don't have the same agenda. We all know that people are trying to get their way of thinking and believing to become codified into what American society will be tomorrow. But to say those kinds of things is irresponsible. And either he is dumb or he is irresponsible or both. And I think every time we talk about his platform shoes, we distract ourselves from the real harm that DeSantis has done, can do, and will do. And the question is, when is his party going to hold him accountable and let him quit stumping for his next job and start really serving the people of Florida?
You know what I find funny about all of this?
Party hold anybody accountable.
Republicans.
You know what I find funny about all this?
When has a Republican ever held themselves accountable, let alone the party held them?
Well, the
It's all
Democrats
that
are
every
too busy
day.
holding Biden up,
Every day.
so-
This is why I'm saying this is why the Democrats never win, because they try to because they do hold each other accountable.
Right.
Why do you think Al Franken quit?
And when they do win, it's because they cheated.
And now the rhetoric that he uses, these Republicans don't apologize for shit, and they don't stand for shit. Sorry.
Double down.
Oh, wow, Rico.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I do find it extremely amusing, the fact that the hemp industry is crying about having to spend this $5 million that they promised to spend in lieu of the political trade to make sure that they don't have that.
Again, that's a major deflection from the questions that I sort of posed.
I don't think that's deflecting at all. I find it humorous that they're complaining about it. They have an open market.
Is saying that the passage of these laws would codify rights that are greater than two of the foundational pillars of American law.
Yeah, but we all know he's gaslighting the community. We all know that.
And you're okay with that?
I'm fine with that. He has to take a perspective. He's going to take a stand. He's going to take that stand. That's fine. Whatever. Who cares?
Jason's a big fan again.
I'm fine with that. That's our platform.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's his thing. That's his thing. That's like asking Kevin Sabet to be pro cannabis.
What is Ron DeSantis' platform? Shoes.
See what you did there.
I mean,
that's
the last
cute.
I checked, the manatees need a little help down there, and condos still collapse because they're building safety procedures, and oversight is lax compared to other states. And so I think if he wants to serve his constituents, there are things at home that he could be doing. And it seems like Ron likes to pick these sort of lightning rod issues so that he can stay in the headlines. And I'm not sure that really helps the people he was tasked with.
Well, like he's pretty much as tall as you are, Yarrow, so he's got to do something to stay in the line of fire.
The line of fire is probably too soon, too.
Yeah, so I'll start a political action committee for vertically challenged and high functioning men, and unfortunately, the high functioning part probably means he won't be able to.
Can we call it Short Kings for Cannabis?
No. The acronym needs to be STILTS, so it needs to be STILTS is what you got to figure out the words for. Yeah, but the acronym should be STILTS.
Short King should be a new name.
Stilts with a Z.
Oh yes, STILTS with a Z. I mean, that would be really
difficult.
good. Yeah. Just the last S as the Z though. It has to start with an S.
Yeah.
Because you can't silence anybody without the letter S.
No, I guess
Just saying.
We'll work on that.
But we do want to thank the C Word with a big old super chat who says the first annual SF Dab Ioki was one for the history books. #High Life. So thank you for that big old super chat, the C Word. We do appreciate it. It looks like I'm going to get some Wagyu today.
You had a doo-doo?
Wagyu.
You can't silence people in Spanish.
Doo-doo.
Cállate.
Well, cute, Rico. We're gonna keep this train rolling. We're gonna roll right into our first commercial, and we're gonna be right back.
Oh man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery? Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
Change political parties for brisket.
I mean, I thought you already have changed
Can we
political
get you
parties.
some burnt ends and turn you red?
Oh. Talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me.
Oh, boy.
Just keep it pink in the middle. Speaking.
We did red pill Yarrow the other day.
Oh, man.
He smokes the best weed in the world, is the highest Republican in every room that he walks into, and is a little upset this morning that he didn't get picked for that VP spot, and his boy JD Vance did out in Ohio. They swag the hardest. Coming to the stage next, y'all know who it is, Jason Beck.
Just so you know, Rico.
I'll go wild.
Yes, I am. I was never vibing for the VP position. I would not want that position. I could have a much more powerful position than just the VP. The VP doesn't really have much power. They're just.
Well, I mean, where else can you stand your ground on the debate stage with a fly just chilling on your forehead, man? VP.
I can come up with a few other spots that would be better, but nonetheless, it's okay. It's all right. It's fair enough. Let me tell you something, man. Everybody, all of you should all be so scared. Okay? Because you guys, there are unknown compounds found in marijuana testing samples, lab owners say, you guys. That's right, Todd, this is for you. In recent weeks, the regulated marijuana industry has faced a crisis of confidence prompted by lab-approved products found to contain pesticides. Now there's evidence some marijuana samples submitted for testing contain mysterious soup of dozens of unknown compounds never before found in cannabis. Lab executives told MJ Biz Daily they believe the compounds are created when hemp-derived cannabinoids are converted to Delta-8 and Delta-9 THC. That's for you, Saman. Labs do not test for these byproducts. Rather, most states require labs to test for various levels of heavy metals, mold, and cannabinoids. And how they affect consumers is unknown, you guys. Creating Delta-8 THC, cannabis contains trace amounts of Delta-8 THC, and most D8 products are manufactured by converting non-intoxicating CBD, potentially leaving behind questionable byproducts, according to scientists in the marijuana space. In a quote, "These are chemical side reactions," said Susan Audino, a chemist, chemotarian, independent consultant to chemical and biological laboratories, and MJ Biz Daily contributor. In a quote, she says, "You can't make one thing without something else being formed as well." That's like saying for every action there's a reaction, but okay. Josh Swidler, co-founder and CEO of San Diego-based Infinite Chemical Analysis Labs, said that he has screened many Delta-8 products created through chemical process. In a quote says, "You'll see 60 unknown compounds in there," he said. "Some of them get identified, but all of them are never found." That is telling you that you're now adding other compounds to what we never found in cannabis, and now people are smoking it. It's a very common thing going around the country. And you ask about fraudulent practices. Well, the flagrant disregard for discovering more about these mystery compounds stems in part from fraudulent practices around THC potency testing, according to Bob Miller, CEO and Chief Scientific Officer at ACT Laboratories, which operates in Florida, Illinois, Michigan, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. In a quote, "Potency testing brings up the opportunity for some bad players, both on the laboratory testing side as well as on the grower processor side, to make deals," Miller said. In an additional quote, "You give me higher potencies, I give you more money for my test, and I can sell it for more. It's a win-win for everybody except the consumer. But yet there's still these unidentified components. On top of the soup side," Miller said, Michigan-based ACT Laboratories is seeing more Delta-8 THC entering the supply chain, and it's where the real issue really exists. In a quote, what they do is they say they've got hemp that they bring and sell across state lines, he said. But really, it's a combination of Delta 8 and Delta 9 THC. When they start to do that conversion from CBD to Delta 8 and Delta 9, it's very sloppy, he says. You get a mix of many different components, and for all of those components, many are not yet being identified. The chemistry is not clean, he says. You get this batch, and it is going to be completely different from the next batch. And, oh, by the way, some of the compounds that are being formed, we don't even know what they are because they're not requiring that today to be tested. Clients don't want to know, and when a lab tester gets these reactionary soups, Miller said, some of the compounds are more psychoactive than Delta 9. In an additional quote, what we do is any peak that we see of applicable levels, we are going to inform the client of what we see, he said. It depends on the client whether they want to understand what it is. Some clients are very interested, and some clients say, I'm paying you to test for these specific state-mandated cannabinoids, and that's really where we want you to focus on your work. And typically these unknown peaks come in things like distillates and edible products, and that's where we start to see something interesting things, you guys. That's right, because even cannabis that has been cleared by regulators can be problematic. Product contamination could come from the device being used to consume the cannabis oil. In a quote, the U.S. state regulators say, hey, everybody, you need to test all of that oil before it goes into the vape pen, Audino said. However, she added, regulatory bodies don't pay much attention to the chemical reactions. In a quote, most vape cartridges need to heat up at a specific temperature, Audino said. And depending on where those cartridges are made, they may or may not be heavily laden with heavy metals. And if they are, those heavy metals leach off underneath. So now you've got a clean oil coming through and being tainted by a chemical process, a physical, physiochemical process from just heating the element. In a quote, that causes a bunch of other reactions, and people have gotten lung diseases. And this puts labs in the middle because it's the customers of the labs, the product manufacturers, who drive what tests they do or don't want, Audino said. If regulators are not demanding it or not requiring certain tests, product manufacturers are probably not asking for them. Then the laboratory is the unsuspected person or entity in the middle with the moral and ethical conundrum, she said. Most state regulators are not scientists, Audino added, and most of them are lawyers, and most state regulators were forced into creating these regulations based on legislation, she said. Legislation doesn't care about science. They just say, do this and make this happen. But is this all come from the Farm Bill origins? That's right. It's a great question, you guys. The Miller of ACT Laboratories said the 2018 Farm Bill, which legalized industrial hemp and unilaterally the intoxicating hemp industry, has contributed to the soup dilemma. At the federal level, there's definitely a movement literally right now to change the regs, he said. In an additional quote, the quicker they can do that, it will then stabilize the potential input into the supply chain of readily unknown chemistry and take that one complexity off the table. In an additional quote, that brings us back to how do we control and better understand how cannabis really operates and what are the compounds? And there's basically saying that a lab reset is needed because most labs in the cannabis industry are moving away from the science, Swidler said. In a quote, this might be a bad thing for the labs because they become more cookie cutter. Do exactly what I'm told. Don't look at anything else. Keep my eyes looking down and give them the numbers they want. Make sure they don't have pesticides, he said. Honestly, the lab industry has 100% failed the cannabis industry for safety, Swindler said, and the lab industry needs to be reset, he says. States needed to do it, and they need to figure out a mandate to do this, he said. What you're doing is trying to keep pace with an industry that's trying to use creative ways to make things cheaper or just scam the system or don't really care about public safety. He says, I honestly think 70 to 80% of the labs probably shouldn't be open because they're not necessarily doing it for to be a safety lab. They're doing it for the dollar, and they're willing to do whatever it is to make that dollar. Well, some interesting things going on in the testing space, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. And we got Saman, who's a scientist, and we got Todd, who's a lab executive. Oh man, we're gonna have lots of opinions on this. This is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News Hour. What do y'all have to say about this?
I just have one question. Was that guy's name Swindler?
Mm-hmm. That's cute. That's cute, Saman. That's cute.
Look, just so we're clear, look, labs can't test for every unknown compound on the planet, right? To make sure the shit is safe. Right? It's hard enough testing for the myriad of tests that are mandated by the state. There are over 60 pesticides tested for in California, 60 in Arizona, only 23 in Nevada. Why are they different? It should be all the same everywhere. And like I said, it's just not cost effective for you as the business owner to test every plant, which is really what should be tested. Also, California, why don't we change the batches from 50 pounds? Because, you literally take an ounce of 50 pounds and test it. That ounce could be clean, but the rest of that 50 pounds can be very dirty.
Yeah, but I mean, Todd, but like you guys in Nevada, you guys have to test every 5 pounds as a batch, and to me, that's just crazy.
Every 5 pounds.
I mean,
that's crazy.
Look, like the reality.
Why is it crazy? What do you think? We take even 12 grams of that 5 pounds.
But actually, Todd, I would argue that taking from a larger sample size is better. In terms of even
not a chance.
No, absolutely.
Not from a safety standpoint.
Coming from the guy who gets paid by the labs.
Let me tell you why. Because if you test, let's say a gram, let's say for instance a gram of cocaine has fentanyl in it or not.
Oh boy.
You're not going to be able to use that fentanyl test strip to test that gram of cocaine for fentanyl. It's not going to bring up a positive hit. You got to take it off of the bigger sample size to get a positive reading on something like a colorimeter or some kind of
Are we? We're not talking
TLC.
About cocaine and fentanyl. We're talking about weed, brother.
But we're talking about it's about sample sizing. It's about finding.
Well, they're two different, completely things. But
what we're saying is,
weed is manufactured and produced for consumer use, like toothpaste.
I mean, cocaine is too.
Yeah, it's true.
No, it's not actually produced like toothpaste because it's a plant. It's growing. A toothpaste is a finished product. So let's say that 50-pound batch that you're talking about, it's actually better to take from a 50-pound batch and take
it's just scientifically incorrect, my friend.
It's wrong. I'm gonna agree to disagree on that.
Since you guys are off the rails.
Oh man, this is great. This is great.
On a rail.
Are we off the rails?
Statistically speaking, the smaller the batch size, the more granular information you have about whatever it is you're testing. However, the 50-pound batch size that we have in California is to balance the cost of testing versus the safety to the consumer. And so the smaller the batch size, the more expensive all of our cogs are.
Yep.
Y'all don't, this is not about lab testing and safety. This article is about things that are not even tested for, which are about unique,
that's what I'm saying,
unique synthetic and novel cannabinoids that never existed because they're made through secondary processes. They're called synthetic cannabinoids. They're not tested because they're not known to be harmful, like certain pesticides that are going to cause a third eyeball to pop out of the side of my temple.
Thanks for putting us back on track, Yarrow. That's right.
We are not talking about lab testing and safety procedures for consumers based on what we know to be harmful. We are talking about compounds that we don't know whether they're harmful or not. They're not on a banned list. There's not enough science to know whether humans and these compounds work well together. And batch size doesn't matter because batch size doesn't address whether these compounds are or are not okay to consume.
Okay, you make a great point.
Which brings me back to my first point, saying
they said 2 things though. They shat on Todd in this article. So Todd's defending himself.
Not on me.
That's where
Not on me.
Well, they shat on labs. They shat on the labs.
I just like that.
I don't think it has anything to do with the labs. I think what we're not seeing
when you say shat in the past tense, I'm like, dude, you are my Scrabble buddy for life, bro. Because
but literally,
I can't
the true question is, what should we be testing for?
Well, I don't think it's about what we should be testing for. It's about what operators shouldn't be putting in. We're talking about, for those people at home that aren't familiar with the industry, we're talking about conversion leaders, which are not things that should be introduced into a regulated market in the first place.
Right.
So we have shady operators who are entering conversions, and then we have them telling the labs, don't test for it. Like, come on, I know trappers that can look at a COA and be like, that's a conversion. So, we know what it is. It's
they're
not
more amber
soup.
colored.
It's only poop soup when it's crude. Now it's hot dog water, but it's converted hot dog water. So, I mean, really what the meat and potatoes of this is that things are getting through into a regulated market. These regulated operators are introducing conversion leaders into metric to cut their costs down, then telling labs to look the other way, a lot of whom are doing so they can keep making their sales. And I think that that's the bigger issue, is that we're bringing adulterated product into the industry that doesn't belong here.
Because it's not even looking the other way. It's not even looking the other way. They're compounds that are not mandated to test for. And guess what? As you, the producer, you don't want to pay for more testing of shit that you know is in your shit, right? Because as you're making that stuff, you know it's in there. You know the byproducts.
Well, and at the same time, Todd, at the same time, if they include different things that you guys are required to test for, that could mean that you guys have to make significant investments into your lab for different equipment to screen for these different compounds.
Who's going to make that rule? That's all created with legislation.
I agree.
Some guy saying, "Hey, why aren't we testing for Delta 8?"
I agree with you, and that's what this article is saying that's what this article is saying is that the testing regulations are created by legislators, not by actual scientists.
That's exactly right. 100%. I agree with that. We had a big hand in helping create them here in Nevada, and it was, they started with a list of 86 pesticides.
Mm-hmm.
And, they had herbicides in there, which nobody uses in cannabis. So Todd, with crop group 19.
So Todd, you think that Nevada's testing requirements are good examples of sample sizes that should be done based on the batch size, the 5 pound as opposed to the 50 pound?
I do with a caveat. I think that heavy metal testing is overdone, right? We're 120,000 samples in. There's been about 12 or 15 heavy metal failures, right? And it was all due to a main problem, right? So I don't think that should have to be done every single batch, right? It's expensive ass equipment that we have to do. We have to have highly trained chemists to do it. And it doesn't really solve any problem, right? Pesticide testing should be there. I believe in microbiology testing. I think that batch sizing is also good and smart from a consumer safety standpoint, not so much from the manufacturer's standpoint, because it is expensive. But one thing that article said that it said we have to count on the morality of the labs, right? Do we? And aren't labs allowed to make money? We're not the police, right? We do what we get paid to do, right? Just like you guys get paid to make some shit and then sell it. Right, so
that's funny.
The labs seem to be the redheaded stepchildren of the cannabis industry because we're not the cops. We're on the customer side. We want you to win, right? If we happen to find stuff, people always say you failed me for whatever, and I was like, I didn't fail you. You failed you.
Yeah,
we just found it.
Take some accountability, right?
I'm going to say this, Todd. I'm going to say this. Your argument, for what you're saying for Nevada makes sense, but California, it doesn't make that much sense, right? And that's why the batch size thing here.
You don't want the people safe in California?
No, you have one plant that's like 10 pounds here in California. You're not doing that in Nevada.
Two tests.
Facts. So, I'm just saying, you have one plant that you're growing this out of, and it's like going to be, 1/5, that's going to be 20% of that batch size of 50 pounds. So that's why they're saying batch size of 50 pounds, because that's a common reality here in California. But again, it's like, this is throwing a lot of shade at the labs. I don't think that's fair. And like Yarrow said, this is more actually about just the converted products and these byproducts that are created. So let's say this, the bigger, like Jenny was saying, the bigger issue here, there's one issue. It's that cannabis is not legal, and we've bifurcated this into hemp and a taxable cannabis industry that has to go through crazy hoops, flaming hoops to get to the finish line or get to the bag. Which, when you get to, there's no fucking money left in that bag.
No, I think the real problem ultimately is with the legislators that are pushing this policy in regards for their financial favors or whatnot from different lobbyists and whatnot that is creating this, instead of them going to scientists and saying, hey, what needs to be here, what should be here, and how should we write this to make sure that we can get it right for the public safety of the community.
But look at the entrepreneurs, bro. The entrepreneurs created the situation with DA.
What?
Hold up, Rico. Look at who created the instance where DA and Delta 10 and HHC and all these different cannabinoids, these new products exist. This is coming from entrepreneurs who are hired as guns for hire.
Let me tell you something, Saman. I saw Delta 8 before there was ever even a hemp industry, so that's not real. It was D8 was created long before then.
You didn't see Delta 9. You didn't see Delta 9 from hemp. You didn't see THCP. You didn't see HHC. So
not THCP and not those other ones. You're correct, but Delta 8 I have. Okay. Delta 8 I saw long before then.
I don't think long before then.
Long before then.
Maybe like
way long before then. Years.
Where did it come from?
Long. Yeah,
he's a G.
It came from the guild. The first place I saw it come from was from the guild.
As a
guild extra, as an actual product that I sold in California, yes.
But definitely, but not
by the gram.
Delta 9 on that, but not Delta 9.
Not Delta 9 like that, but Delta 8, yes.
That's what they're talking about is all those byproducts.
They said D8 and D9.
We're talking about conversions.
Yeah, but Delta 8 is not the same.
Make a list, and the labs will be happy to test for them.
Of course they would, because they're going to get more money.
Yes.
Of course they would. But we got to keep we got to keep this thing going. We are way over time today. We're going to roll right into the golden voice. We're going to go right in. We're going to go right on in to the voice himself, Mr. Todd Denkin. He's the founder of DigiPath Labs, where they can only test weed at a 5-pound batch. He's also the founder of the Smuggleverse, which is where you can go and buy all of your digital dank that you can't smoke in real life. That's right, it is none other than Mr. Todd Denkin.
Well, everybody, thank you. Yes, thank you. 5 pounds of flour, 15 pounds of trim, and every kilo of extract also. That would be a killer in California. Mm-hmm. I have kind of a fun story. Snoop Dogg launches his first marijuana dispensary along with a new line of cannabis products honoring Tupac. How cool is that, right? Snoop Dogg is taking his marijuana legacy to the next level, opening his first licensed dispensary and launching a line of cannabis products that pay tribute to rapper Tupac. Snoop's name is effectively synonymous with marijuana, as the artist has made cannabis culture a hallmark of his personal and professional brand for decades. Now he's making his debut in California's legal industry with the launch of the Los Angeles-based retailer Weed, which stands for Smoke Weed Every Day, SWE. How clever. The dispensary features various nods to Snoop's career under the record label Death Row Records, which he took over in 2022. For example, there's a smoke-proof DJ booth where Snoop can smoke and spin music memorabilia associated with the label and graffitied quotes from the artist. One of the other unique features of the Los Angeles dispensary that it's catered selections of marijuana offerings, which will include new line of limited edition products from Snoop's Death Row Records cannabis brand. That product line honors rapper Tupac Shakur, or Tupac, not sure why they said it like that, an iconic artist who Snoop befriended before he was killed in a shooting in 1997. It was Tupac who gifted Snoop his first blunt. Snoop said, "That first blunt sparked a friendship that ran deep. We'll always have his music, but this is another way I can bring what was meaningful to Tupac to his fans." This isn't the artist's first foray into the cannabis industry, of course. He also launched a different marijuana brand called Leafs by Snoop in Colorado in 2015. Snoop's marijuana legacy also runs deep, as late-night TV host Jimmy Kimmel recognized last year when he declared the artist's birthday, October 20th, the new, quote, the new high holiday of Dog Father's Day. While he might be best known as a prolific consumer, Snoop has also advocated for reform, which includes calling for a policy change at the NBA so that players could freely use cannabis off the court. He said last year he supported the reform based on the medical side of it, the health benefits, and how it could actually help ease the opioids and all the pills that they've been given, and the injections, he said. Snoop has long been pushing athletic organizations to adopt lenient marijuana policies, often emphasizing that points and that cannabis could serve as a less addictive and dangerous alternative to prescription opioids. The artist, who once estimated that he smokes 81 blunts per day, I hope Saman isn't rolling them for him, also made headlines in 2019 as he disclosed that he paid a person upwards of $50,000 a year to roll his blunts for him. Come on, you would never get the gig, even though it's not a bad gig. I'm Todd Denkin with High 9 News, and Snoop Dogg entering the dispensary space. Jason, what do you think?
I mean,
about smoke weed every day?
I mean, I'm great for them. They entering the most taxed part of the industry, and so you know what I mean. But he's got the money to pay for it, so cool. Kudos to him, and congratulations. Welcome to being a retailer.
I mean, this was he racked up enough money on the road launching the Leaves and all that because they were paying.
They didn't make any money off that. They didn't make money.
I mean, they didn't make any money. He made money. That's what I'm saying.
Licensing
they had to pay him
deal,
for his they had to pay him for his likeness. There was a lot of upfront money in that. I remember that deal in Colorado.
That's not really kind of how that worked, but okay.
Are you sure, Jason?
I'm 100% sure. I know who got the money in that deal, and it wasn't Snoop.
All right. Well, let's see. There's probably
it was someone on Snoop's team, but it wasn't Snoop.
Okay.
Maybe you have a point there, Jason. Maybe it was. Jason
I know
Beck.
I have a point there.
I got to apply.
Mm-hmm. But carry on.
Anyways,
carry on.
I want to see the reality show. I want to see Snoop Dogg. I want to see Snoop Dogg doing some day-to-day shit in a dispensary. Can you see Snoop Dogg actually batching out at the end of the day? Can you see him doing any reconciliation, taking any orders from anybody here?
No, he's QCing.
No, you know what I do see? I do see Snoop feeling like he could just smoke anywhere, and then the DCC issuing them a fine for him smoking on property. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
in the DJ booth.
Yeah, that's what I could see happening.
I was just thinking we just really needed a new celebrity brand. That was just what I was thinking yesterday. So I'm glad we got another one coming.
But I will say I saw a lot of posts on social media. It looked like it was a good time. There was a lot of people there that showed up, showed support and whatnot. Yeah, it looked like a great time on social media. So
that was good.
Yeah, I would say a positive spin. Like I'm not really behind the longevity of celebrity brands either, Jenny Beth. But what I would say that if there's any celebrities that would do well, Exhibit, Wiz Khalifa, and Snoop Dogg, as they are part of the culture and they've been on the ground doing the damn thing. So just by name alone. Oh yeah, and be real.
Well, you can't really say that because they've been in cannabis doing other things, and the stuff that they've done haven't been like crazy successful where it's like blockbuster.
Remember the Snoop Dogg G-Pen collab?
Let me finish. Let me
okay. All right. Sorry. All right. Okay. Just
I was gonna say, as long as he is on the ground doing the damn thing, that's one thing. Like, before Exhibit even opened up XWCC, like this motherfucker be at PADs and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, be real, actually be on the ground doing shit. So if Snoop does that work,
that's what it takes.
I hope he does.
That's honestly what it takes.
You're going to have to buy an eighth of it to take a picture with Snoop Dogg. Otherwise, you're going to have 85,000 people in line to not buy shit in your store.
Nope, they're just going to go to Madame Tussauds and like make a couple Snoop Dogg figurines so that every time you go to a Snoop Dogg store, you can take a picture with Snoop. That's it.
You ever go whenever there's a Lakers game, you ever go down over there on Chick Hearn and see all of these Snoop Dogg clones they have everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
All these fools down here.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have those guys looking like a black Where's Waldo, all of that.
Yeah. I think that actually makes the most sense.
You don't even know who the real
Mm-hmm.
Snoop is.
That probably is gonna make the most money for Snoop, because I mean he has all the clout in LA, and he's like a legend. He's like a cannabis legend too. It's probably better than any other celebrity weed brand out there.
Oh no, we got to go to a commercial. We're gonna be right back.
Let's be real. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
You got it, Adam?
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
All right, stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you hit that like button. I know we'll appreciate it, you'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and all of the articles that we cover on today's show you can read directly on our website at www.high9news.com. And we do want to thank you out there for tuning in and watching. Last night, we hit 775,000 views on the channel, and so we want to thank you all for helping us hit that milestone.
The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated.
Up next is the black female conservative voice that cannabis industry never knew they needed. Coming to the stage with her conservative Georgia roots, and she is the mind behind Kind Cannabis Consulting, and she is the mastermind behind Justice Serve 501c3. Y'all know who it is. Jenny Beth Dills. Jenny Beth Dills, y'all. Give it up.
Thank you. Waiting on Jason to pull my story up there. Oh.
Can you move the cup also?
Is this it? Where is it?
There's only one girl, though, Todd.
Jesus Christ, you guys are ridiculous. Listen, all right, whatever. Okay, well, we're talking about something that's actually important. Over 30,000 comments have poured in regarding the DEA's proposal to reschedule cannabis to Schedule 3 under the Controlled Substances Act. With just 1 week left in the public comment period, the total now stands at 30,640 submissions. The surge follows the Department of Justice's publication of the Notice of Proposed Rulemaking in May, which was spearheaded by U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland. The proposal has ignited vigorous debate on the potential benefits and risks associated with rescheduling cannabis. Advocates of the rescheduling argue for expanded medical access and economic opportunities. They point to cannabis's recognized medical uses, citing endorsements from the Department of Health and Human Services and various medical associations, for instance, the U.S. Cannabis Council. Hailed the move as a historic shift away from outdated policies, emphasizing the economic contributions and medical benefits reported by state-regulated cannabis industries. Conversely, critics express reservations about the societal impact of rescheduling. Concerns range from potential increases in substance abuse to the perceived risk of cannabis use disorder. Come on, dude. Particularly among young people. Organizations like Smart Approaches to Marijuana, SAM, have mobilized opposition, highlighting studies linking cannabis use to addiction and mental health issues. The comment submissions reflect a wide spectrum of opinions. Many argue that rescheduling falls short of addressing the broader social justice concerns and advocate for full descheduling, aligning federal policy with the majority of states that have legalized cannabis in some form. Others support the step forward towards rescheduling while urging caution and comprehensive research into cannabis's medical efficacy and societal impact. Key figures in the medical community, such as Dr. Peter Grinspoon from Harvard Medical School, underscore the therapeutic potential of cannabis for treating conditions like chronic pain and anxiety, advocating for its descheduling based on comparative safety profiles with substances like alcohol and tobacco. As the comment period nears its conclusion on July 22nd, stakeholders from all sides continue to engage vigorously in this pivotal regulatory debate. The outcome will influence federal policy on cannabis, impacting medical access, research funding, and the broader legal landscape across the United States. Those interested in contributing their views can submit comments via the federal docket management system until the deadline. This ongoing dialogue reflects the complexities and significance of cannabis policy reform in the modern era. And you guys can read the rest of that article because it was ungodly long on our website, highat9news.com. But I think that, I hope that you guys are all going to get your voices heard. I think that for me, a reschedule is not enough. I think a reschedule is going to slow up our process to get what we truly need, which is going to be a full deschedule of cannabis. So I will be commenting in opposition, but not for the same reason that Sam is. What do you think, Jace?
Interesting. Well, I'll tell you what, it is. They got a lot of comments.
I was going to say,
a lot of comments.
Any insight as when there's 30,000 of these comments, like, how long is it going to take to go through all those? Do they like any insight from anybody on?
I don't even think they're going to read them.
They're not going to read what we say.
They're not going to read them.
No, they're not. I mean,
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I just worry that somebody like Smart Approaches to Marijuana is going to sort of rig the system like they were voting for a best singer on American Idol and just keep calling in. My guess is that they take these comments, they run them through some sort of AI generator to come up with a distillation of positions and then score them based on the percentage of respondents.
Mm-hmm. You know what happens when that gets found out, though, Yarrow, is they rescind all that shit and they get sued. They're going to get sued and say, oh, this happened because it was going through AI. We can't trust the AI. Who owns the AI to do all of this shit?
No, 100%.
They're just going to give a little bit
scripts.
of money to they're going to give a little bit of money to DeSantis's campaign and they'll be safe.
Oh, boy. All right. No, what they're going to do is write a pre-scripted response that a lot of people, they're going to be convinced that they're helping by posting, and these sheeple are going to go ahead and post it, not realizing that they may be voting against their best interest, depending on what that pre-forum thing says. If you're going to say something, use your own words. If it's red, you want to be well-intentioned, and you want to make sure that it's your voice being heard, not what someone has convinced you is the right thing to do, because that's led us down quite a few wormholes.
Is that what happens when you're red?
Yeah, if you're blue, you don't just say it.
No, you're just dabu-dee-dabu-die. I get it.
Content.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's only two talking heads there. What's going on?
Hold on, Adam. I don't know, Adam. Adam is not being stifled. Adam is not in studio today.
No burnt ends.
And so he said to stand by for the transition.
I take it back. I changed my political affiliation for Brisket. We've been in the chat. Brisket is what's up.
Yarrow's now red. I'm gonna send Yarrow. It's almost Traeger Day has just passed, but we can have another one, and we'll get you some burn ends.
Things in life that are better than Brisket, and I cannot talk about those on this show.
Yes, Republicans for remediation. Let's go.
Oh, well, man. Shout out. We got a big old super chat. Thank you so much, Philip Zimmerman. Says stilts. He got it. Snoop takes in licensed trafficked sales.
Damn.
Stilts.
Zales, right?
Zales, bro.
Zimmerman's been hot in the chat today.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Shout
Zimmerman
out, Philip.
is always hot in the chat. Even when I wasn't watching the show regularly, I'm sorry, Jason, I would have some of his comments were screenshot and sent to me, and they were freaking hilarious. We appreciate you. Keep doing all of that down there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Adam's back. Adam is back. Thank goodness. Look at that, Rico. We're all there. Look at that. One big happy family. Oh,
welcome back.
Yes. And we're going to keep this train rolling. We're going to roll right on in to the man who's a chemist. He's a formulist. And, of course, he reminds women over 40 how to say hello again. That's right. It is none other than Mr. Saman Razani.
Hold on.
That's you, Rico.
Here we go.
There you go.
I couldn't stop you.
Oh, where's all that coming from? Don't do that
Happy
again.
Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Don't forget to like the YouTube page and subscribe if you haven't. I've got a story today about our potential VP of the freest country in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. J.D. Vance. Marijuana Moment provided a great article where Trump's vice presidential running mate J.D. Vance stands on marijuana. Kyle Yeager reporting. I'm also summarizing this article. I'm paraphrasing. I just went through and highlighted some. This is just giving a record, a detailed record of his stance on cannabis, what he's done in the past, and I think we all know, where Ohio has stood rather on cannabis in the past. So let's see what we have here. Former President Donald Trump has selected Senator J.D. Vance, Republican from Ohio, as his running mate in the 2024 presidential election. A choice that could have implications for marijuana policy if the ticket is ultimately elected, given Trump's mixed records and Vance's opposition to certain modest cannabis reform proposals in the Senate. Vance, who was elected in 2022, doesn't have an extensive cannabis policy record, but his limited actions and comments on the issue indicate that he's aligned with Trump on one key issue. He backs the rights of states to set their own marijuana laws. Excuse me. He also indicated that he's against incarcerating people over low-level possessions, which is great. I think we all agree on that. However, he voted against bipartisan banking legislation that passed in committee and has argued that states that have enacted legalization should increase enforcement activities. With Trump's position on marijuana issues often in flux, his choice for a vice president adds uncertainty to the prospects of advancing reform. But neither Trump nor Vance support adult use legalization, and the running mate's opposition to cannabis banking access doesn't appear to raise the chances of modest legalization moving under the duo. Legalization and policy actions. Vance was among the 9 members of the Senate Banking Committee who voted in the minority against the Secure and Fair Enforcement Regulation, the Safer Banking Act, in September of 2023. Vance said he opposed it in part because he believed it would inadvertently make it easier for illicit operators to traffic other drugs, such as fentanyl. You have to do this in the right way, he told Dills' report of cannabis industry banking access. You obviously want people to have access to financial services, but if you do it the wrong way, you can actually promote illicit activity, and that's what we want to prevent. Past comments in social media posts. The vice presidential candidate has also weighed in on Biden's administration move to reschedule marijuana under federal law, stating that it's never been my particular focus on my particular cause of concern. He also raised doubts about the idea that marijuana banking reform is a priority for the GOP-controlled House. In an interview with Ask a Poll's Matt Laszlo that was published in May of 2024, Vance gave his initial reaction. My view on weed is we have to strike a balance between you don't want people thrown in prison for having a dime bag, he said. That mercifully doesn't happen most of the time in this country. I also think we haven't quite figured out how this new regime coexists with not polluting our public spaces, right? He said, this is like a big frustration that I have. You take your kids downtown Cincinnati to go to a restaurant and you walk by 5 people who are stoned. It smells terrible. I don't want that. I also don't want people getting arrested for, having a dime bag. And I think we have to strike a balance a little bit better. The story does go on, but that was just
good.
That's a highlight. There is more quotes from him. He's not the friendliest guy, but I'd love to hear what everybody has to think, particularly Jason. I want to hear what he has to say in defense of our guy.
Look, can you believe a word the guy says, right? He also said about his new boss, he's a cynical asshole, or he's America's Hitler. He also said, Trump is cultural heroin. Okay.
He also said his presidency proved me wrong and proved a lot of people wrong, and that it was one of the best presidencies he's seen. So he did change his mind. Some people are allowed to do that. You blue guys, you can always switch up and get it right. It's not too late.
You guys can always come see the truth.
No, but you hate when a blue guy switches over.
No, we don't. We love it.
Guy switches.
We love it. We love it. Listen, if we could just get you a little purple purple,
the red guy changing his mind, or when the red guy changes his mind. And that's the thing. I love what he also said.
People can
Christians, everyone is watching us when we apologize for this man. Okay,
what's the difference between a flip-flopper and an evolver, Jason? Please.
There's a big difference.
Inquiring mind.
I think if you see and practice something that changes your mind for the positive, then fine. Like I think people have. In any situation can have a belief and then see something materialize that's different from what they thought it was going to be. You know, we talk badly about you guys all the time, but we love you.
I gotta hand it to Trump. Trump has flipped some staunch people who hate him. Who hate him. Lindsey Graham, Little Marco, right? They all just pimp for him all the time. Ted Cruz, he's another fucking one.
He called his dad the Zodiac Killer. He calls his dad the Zodiac Killer and said his wife is ugly, and you still supporting this dude.
He must be promising them so much fucking money at the end of it all. It just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, in all fairness, Todd, Trump has promised every American more money because he's promised to fix our economy.
You know what that means? They can afford more lab tests, Todd.
And tax system too. I like the tariff talk. I like the tariff talk a lot myself.
Trump
he has no policy.
Hold on, one at a time.
Promised people more money. Trump has promised people more money because in this next term, they will not be able to decide whether they want that child or not. So they will need that extra money because there will be only babies from unplanned pregnancies. This is not an abortion show, but let's be very clear that this article talked about Mr. Vance's position, which is that he believes all
the VP doesn't have any power.
Federally illegal, including
the VP has absolutely no power. The VP has absolutely no power or any sway.
Tell that to Cheney.
That's different. Cheney was actually the president because he was running the country. There's a big difference.
Right.
He was running the oil company.
Yeah, Bush was just the front man for Cheney.
He says, Vance also said, to every complex problem, he promises a simple solution. He never offers details for how these plans will work because he can't. Trump's promises are the needle in America's collective vein.
Damn, it sounds like politics.
You guys are so crazy.
This is cultural heroin.
You guys are so angry, and I love it.
Allow people to evolve.
You're going to have a rough next 4 years, but you're going to have more money, so you can cry on a yacht, not a dinghy, and that'll be nice for you guys.
Listen, let me address one.
We'll have more money because Trump is really worried about you and me and our
I had more money during the last administration than I do during this current one, and I don't think that that's mutually exclusive to me.
Everybody I know in the streets had more money.
One sec. Let's talk about
everyone on the streets had more money.
When Trump gets elected and he fixes the tariff situation with China, is that going to be worse or better for the cannabis operators who are exclusively buying all of their packaging?
Well, in all fairness, we've been telling a lot of cannabis operators that they need to find manufacturing solutions in Taiwan over China for a long time. So if they haven't acted on that, that's only at their behest.
And finding U.S. packaging solutions covers a lot of these things, like the mosquito spray that's sprayed on tanker ships.
How about the death penalty for drug dealers? How about that?
Through to
I mean, but all of the feeds, all that material comes from China still, right? Even if
who cares?
People or a packager buying it all. I mean, it's gonna take the costs up, right? And people care when the cost of all cannabis products are down.
It's not.
Maybe they'll buy American.
It's not. Maybe there won't be as many counterfeit products at that point in time.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're blowing that thing way out of proportion. Way out of proportion.
I'm just looking ahead. I'm just looking way
Death
farther
penalty
ahead.
for drug dealers. I just remember Trump said that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you have to understand. You have to understand how to understand Trump talk. Okay, and so when he says that,
English.
he is referring to like large cartel dealers, large fentanyl dealers, and things like that. He is not referring to your average trapper. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Not even your 1%.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
No. In actuality, he was talking about Rodrigo, whatever his name is, from the Philippines, who was literally killing people on the streets for low-level drug offenses. If they were accused of smoking weed, they were killed by the police. That's who he was referring to.
I'm throwing a whole bunch of water on your gaslight.
Maybe we need to take
Donnie Duterte.
Rico, he would never do anything wrong. Come on.
You guys are crazy.
He would never do it. He's godlike.
You guys are crazy.
Yo, shout out to the people that were commenting my name with all the famous actors' last names. That was great.
Since we are on the topic of the administration, I did put out a video going over the tragic assassination attempt, and so if you do want to check it out, there is the famous photo as the thumbnail, and I encourage you to go and check it out. Rico,
are they going to charge the Secret Service as accessories? Because I think they need to.
We're going to charge you to go up next, Yarrow. As a second-generation cultivator and founder of Special Teams Consulting. Y'all know who it is. It's the sage from Sebastopol himself coming down off of the top rope to put Jason Beck in a leg lock and bring us our last story of the day. Yarrow Kubrin. Let's do it, my band. I don't even get a clap.
I ain't even gonna start until I hear that.
Adam's not here, bro. So I don't know what you want me to do.
Here we go.
There we go.
You know what I want you to do.
There you go.
I wanna hear the can clap.
There you go.
There we go. That's my cue to come on in for the story here.
You're all queued up.
Yeah, so good morning. Yeah, good morning. High at 9 News viewers. Thank you for tuning in today, Tuesday, July 16th. This has been a lively one. Man, this is good stuff. My article today is about New York and the gift that keeps on giving, New York. So without further ado, let me get right to it. New York recalls multiple cannabis products. Multiple items have recently been recalled in New York. The New York State Office of Cannabis Management on Friday recalled all Sky High branded cannabinoid hemp products produced by Eat Sky High LLC as a precautionary measure since the manufacturer was an unlicensed cannabinoid hemp processor. No adverse side effects caused by the consumption of the recalled products have been reported yet, and an investigation into the products is ongoing. Here's what to know about the recall. Which cannabis products have been recalled? The unregulated products were sold at licensed cannabis and cannabinoid hemp dispensaries throughout the state. Here's which products are included in the recall. Dessert toppings, including caramel drizzle, white chocolate, strawberry drizzle, and chocolate drizzle.
All the drizzle.
Dipping sauces. The drizzle, dipping sauces, honey mustard, honey garlic, ranch sauce, sweet and sour, and chipotle mayo. Condiments, ketchup, barbecue sauce, hot sauce, mayo, ketchup, and sweet chili. And ice cream, gelato, and sorbet. Grape, guava, mango, coconut, Snickers, chocolate, green apple, watermelon, passion fruit, fruity pebbles, and Cookie Monster. Why the products have been recalled. The products are being recalled because they were produced as an unlicensed cannabinoid hemp processor and have multiple safety violations, New York's cannabis office said. Violations include processing by an unlicensed facility, the amount of THCA present in the product, unverified testing of product to OCM standards, labeling violations, including but not limited to missing warnings, processor information and lot number, production with hazardous food products, misleading labels making the products appear to be authorized adult use products with NYS universal symbol imagery. Dispensaries and distributors have been instructed to stop the distribution and sales of the affected products immediately. If you've bought any of those recalled products and you want to return them, contact the retail dispensary you purchased them from, says the State Office of Cannabis Management. You can return the recalled product even if they've been opened. So, hey. So I picked this article because I wanted to continue to riff, ramble, and rant about this intersection of overregulated cannabis and underregulated hemp. And now that we are seeing more hemp-derived cannabinoids entering the regulated supply chain in many states, I wanted to cue this up, hand it off to my other pundits, and see what you guys all think and feel. This is Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News, Tuesday, July 16th.
Definitely no surprise how I feel. Waste of fucking time. Legalize cannabis all around. Fuck this nonsense.
But these were all hemp growers in the first place, too. They got licensed to cultivate.
They were growing hemp because they separated cannabis and hemp. They only did that because there wasn't one system, and because they could with less regulation. It's like that's the problem. This is a fish in a barrel situation for operators, and they're jumping into that market. And so now we have this unbalanced thing where we're still getting taxed to death, and those guys are sending their products, hemp products, into these states with regulated cannabis. And where are the operators that are doing their duty as a steward of the program in the states? Like it's fucking stupid.
New York is doing a terrible job fighting off the trap.
What do you think about this, Todd? I want to hear what Todd has to say.
New York's doing a terrible job, right? It's just stop that at just New York's doing a terrible job, right? I mean, they just cannot get their fucking shit together in any aspect of their industry.
What do you think?
Close it down and start over again.
Well, what do you think about this whole product recall, Todd? I mean, you do a lab.
They should be testing smaller batches.
No. If stuff is dirty, it should be recalled. We just had a recall here in Nevada.
Did it say how they found the recall? Like how they got notified?
It's always found with like secret shopping. Going into a dispensary and retesting something that's already been tested.
Got it.
But look, stuff needs to be recalled if it's
it's probably the only person that bought that product.
Affects consumer safety, maybe. But New York they just need to stop and start again. I mean,
that's impossible.
Well, that's impossible. They've already once you started that machine, that machine is, ooh, man,
it just needs a fucking new machine.
So I mean, if New York already does not have, on the legal side, they don't have enough products, man. They got these recalls going on, man. Like why would you just not go to the?
Well, I mean, I just wonder what was. Well, I wonder, because all this stuff is all like 2-year-old flower now at this point.
Well, a lot of that's getting turned into whiskey now.
They fixed that. They're starting to get better flower options now.
They're starting to get better flower options now.
Testing dirty, and it's testing dirty. So
is that better? Is that what you're telling me? That
shout out.
The dirtier it tests, the better the weed.
Farms out there. Big shout out.
Define dirt.
Dirty, not passing.
Dirt don't hurt, bud.
Not passing.
Dirt don't hurt,
but it's
bud.
dirty. You can find another lab.
Todd, you opening a lab in New York?
Oh. Let me answer that in one question. In one answer, in one word.
One word.
Why? Yeah, why? Why?
No. Right. Why? Question. Answer me a question. Question me an answer. Why?
But it's interesting because I like to not be too compassionate, and so there's a part of me that doesn't feel sorry for entities that don't think that labeling and other consumer safety procedures are important for any CPG product. And so there is a way in which hemp companies can de-risk against preemptive enforcement action, and it doesn't take a lot of extra effort, doesn't take a lot of extra resources. It does take some thoughtfulness and an approach with go-to-market. And typically the companies that are not suffering from preemptive recalls are the ones that are treating it like, okay, we're going to put a product on the shelf. It's going to be consumed by people. What is the rest of the world doing? How do we mimic that? How do we adopt best practices from outside this industry? And how do we make sure we don't put a bullseye on our back? And so the companies that don't take that approach and self-regulate and level up as an industry so we don't have to be over-regulated, I don't really entirely feel sorry for them. What did you think was going to happen if you sidestepped a lot of the things that are requirements from the FDA, requirements for things that are consumed by people, requirements in other industries? Why do we think that we're going to be able to sidestep that? Just because it's not in the Farm Bill? I mean, New York has included milligram limitations on hemp products. And so I've known since last year that New York wasn't the most lax state in the country for putting hemp products on shelves. And I think companies that have smart people in their C-suite or consultants who know something would have the foresight to understand that their job is to be as conservative as possible in their approach to make sure that they're not suffering from this. And so I think people are just loose booty in it, just being crazy. And New York had to do something to somebody to show, hey, we're taking this seriously and we want to make sure that you guys are at least abiding by labeling requirements and the whatnot. And this company didn't do it and they got burned.
Fascinating. You ready, Rico?
Yeah, I just hope they get their shit together, man.
Stop it.
They're not going to get their shit together.
Not a chance.
I don't have any confidence that they will. Like not even a little bit, man. So
word to the wise: don't let your loose booty burn out there. All right.
Every time New York says they get it together, I believe in shorting on New York.
I don't know, man. There's a prime opportunity for the trap to come in there and fix things, make things right. Right, Jason?
I mean, the trap.
Never lose.
The trap's the only thing that can fix it.
Yeah.
Always room for the trap.
Donald Trap.
Donald Trap.
Oh,
yes.
Man. That's cute. It's cute. I like what you did
I can't believe that's not been done yet. Rico's a genius.
It has been done.
Thank you all for another episode of High 9 News. You can catch us live weekdays, 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our super fans getting their comments posted. What do we have today, Jason?
Oh, we have the Suitor of Music with a big old super chat. And yes, thank you so much, Suitor of Music. And we have Philip Zimmerman with a big old super chat. It looks like I can get some wagyu today. It's going to be a good day.
Appreciate y'all. Yes, getting your comments posted and called out on the big screen. Also, big love to our live audience members and online supporters tuning in and giving us feedback on the daily headlines of chaos we also call the developing cannabis industry. Our vetted correspondent team tuning in from all over, bringing us much-needed variety of perspective and your respected opinions to the table. Our production team, Millie and Adam, always back there behind the scenes, keeping our AV struggles in check. And finally, Cannabis Sativa L, the reason why we show up to read these headlines every single day. Thank you. It has been July 16th, 2024. The show's over. You all been blessed with the top industry headlines. Hope it's enough for you to put in your pipe and smoke at least until tomorrow. My name is Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street. Signing off for High at 9 News, America's #1 daily cannabis news show. And today we're going to pop things right back up to the Sebastopol sage himself. How about that? Yarrow?
Hey. Look, I don't think there is a more lively group of diverse opinions discussing daily cannabis and hemp news in the world. And I don't take much credit for that, but I will say that my cohorts are an incredibly dynamic group of intelligent and hilarious folks. And so this is the only place to get it. You're going to have to come back tomorrow for your daily dose. Until then, take care.
DEI
is done.